It's another Monday. That means 50% day.
Whoa, you started the podcast? You never start the podcast.
Sometimes you just gotta, push that button.
Did you push a button?
A big red button, from... you watched it last night.
Christmas Invasion.
Christmas Invasion. A big red threatening button that should never be pressed.
Boom! I bet that sounds
good
great.
on the mics.
Yeah. Today is a very special episode of the podcast because we have a very special guest. Woo!
Well, it's another red, isn't it?
Another red.
Yeah.
That's a tease for the guest.
Exactly.
Troy Red Archer Live is joining us on the podcast. And we've actually just spoken to him. We're recording this after the pod.
Movie magic.
You wouldn't even know, except the fact that I just told you that.
You had to ruin it, didn't you?
It's a special episode of the podcast. We're trying something new, something that hopefully we'll do again down the line. And it is
with all your favourite guests.
With all your favourite guests, including myself and Connor. That basically what the podcast is we literally copied straight from Brett Goldstein, Brett Goldstein, the nicest man in the UK.
That's pig of howdy.
He's got his own podcast. He's in the Saranga Conundrum as well, if you care at all. And he's also Roy Kent in Ted Lasso, that kind of thing. He's got his own podcast called Film to Be Buried With.
You might say he's here.
He's there. He's every fucking where. Roy Kent.
Yeah, that's my joke for the
Ted Lasso reference.
Show. Yeah.
This is the part where you dip out, and I'll explain what this segment is. Just dip out. Whoa, Connor's out. That's a good video gag right there.
Yeah.
See you, mate. You stay there for a sec. Cool. Yeah, he's going on his phone and everything. So basically, what Brett's podcast is about, he gets guests on, people, celebrity, Russell T Davies, Edgar Wright, that kind of thing. They come on and they die on the podcast. And then Brett asks them about the films that mean the most to them. That's what we're doing today. We're copying literally straight from it. So please go check out his podcast first. Brett's podcast is very good, but we're copying, the questions and the entire sort of vibe of the podcast and remaking it for Doctor Who, joined by none other than Troy /Red Archer Live. I don't know why I always say his name like that. But yeah, Troy is
so easy when you're by yourself, is it?
Stay there, Connor. You're away from the mic. No one cares. So stick around for a very great chat with Troy. It's a lot of fun. We talk about the best endings of episodes of Doctor Who, the best beginnings of episodes of Doctor Who, the scariest episodes of Doctor Who. We want to get to know Troy through the medium of Doctor Who. Did that sound good, Connor?
Yeah, pretty good.
You can sit back on your chair for a second now if you like.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, sit yourself back.
Oh.
So,
that was actually a real gag, I actually did fall.
You did a pratfall. That's not the side you should sit on.
Oh!
Connor has made a mess.
Oh, what?
In the office.
Oh.
Idiot. Yeah, well, that's fine.
My foot.
Okay, so follow us on Twitter and Instagram @50Doctor. Hit us up on the 50% Doctor Who podcast YouTube channel because we want to get to 500 subscribers by January 1st.
It's possible.
Make it happen. Make it happen.
Make it happen. Make it. Okay.
Let's get straight into it. Let's get into our interview with Troy /Red Archer Live.
High five, ready?
Yeah!
Face away.
50% podcast.
So, welcome to Who to Be Buried With. Whoa! Today's guest is a podcaster. They are a YouTuber, a podcaster again, a Doctor Who fan, a streamer, a payday player.
Wow.
Just a lovely human.
Everything.
Everyone loves them. They are a kind soul and a fellow ginger. Today's guest is Troy /Red Archer Live. Let's bring him in. Let's go. Woo! Yeah. Amazing.
Along to this.
You always love the tunes. Oh, I just cut it off. Sorry.
Welcome. Troy's
that was
in the
good.
house.
When you said there'd be a jingle, I wasn't sure if I'd hear it. I thought I was just going to have to dance along, and then I suddenly heard it. I was like, oh, great.
It's always a hit. It's always a hit.
We did used to have that back in the day when we first started the show. We'd just kind of bounce to nothing and just edit tunes over the top of it.
Pretend we could hear it.
It was great.
Oh, wow.
Such is the editor's way, I feel.
Well, that's another reason why I, in particular, love having you on, Troy, because you're the fellow editor of your podcast. And so you understand the pains, the tears of blood
really do.
as you edit.
I really do.
Oof, it's good. But now you're probably going to make a mess of this for me just so you can have your revenge. Is that...
No, trust me. The worst thing I could do to anybody would be to open a bag of crisps on the stream, because I ate Pringles in the recording with Chris. You already talked about meeting Alex Kingston, and I was like, I'll edit these out, it'll be no problem. It took me hours to get the noises out. I hated everything. I was just... Never, ever. I've got a bag of crisps here. I'm not, like, there's a bit of crackling. I'm not opening these until we are off the call, because I know how bad that will be.
Much
so I am
appreciated.
saving them.
Wow, look at that. It's professional right here.
There we go. So, Troy,
exactly.
you've got, would you say your main thing is Who's There? I know you dabble with, like, a few different things. I don't know if you want to, how would you describe yourself? What do you do?
Where do you start? I don't know, because I've done, you said about playing Payday, that's kind of like the gaming channel, that's got like nearly 30,000 subs, that's the thing I've done for the longest period of time.
Yep.
But at the minute, I suppose I spend more time on Who's There than anything else, because of like the recording and the editing. It's nice this week, to be fair, it's quite a cushy gig this week, because we're doing a live episode, so there's no editing for that, and I'm on your podcast, which I also don't have to edit, so I'm really enjoying that vibe this week. It's nice.
Just chat with no consequences.
The monthly live streams that you guys do, that's great. Like I know we want to start doing that soon. Like
probably not like monthly or anything.
Don't you guys do once a month though? It's like the once a month.
It should be about once a month. I can't. When we last did one, I think it'll be just over a month. The last one we did, I think, was Power of the Doctor.
It was
right?
for Power of the
It'll be
Doctor,
just over.
right, yeah.
So
we
when I
really
wore
do that
Jodie's coat and then kept editing the episode till into the morning, or like arranged it for the audio upload, and then it got to like 4 a.m, and I was like, I'm still wearing Jodie's coat. What am I doing?
I'm just sleeping at this point.
Yeah.
I love that.
But yeah, I suppose I spend more time on Who's There than anything else at the minute. And that was the thing, like a couple of times on Twitter recently, I've had someone describe me as like a WhoTuber, and I'm like, who, me? Really? Like, because I don't really, because I never really spoke about Doctor Who on the gaming channel. My main excuse, it was how I got to touch with Crispy, was I invited him onto my old podcast because I wanted to do some things that weren't Payday themed, and I was like, I need a reason to talk about Doctor Who. He seems like a cool guy. I'll chat to him and then use it as an excuse to talk about Doctor Who, and it all went on from there. So it's kind of a bit of both now. It's cool. I like it. It's like a nice little kind of mix between the gaming and the Doctor Who audience.
Yeah, I was
Doctor
about
Who
to ask like how
special.
you guys met. So through that, you guys just decided to start Who's There, like your Doctor Who podcast. That was just it. You just went,
he was
"This is it."
hesitant. Oh, let me tell you, he was
Oh,
hesitant.
really?
He clearly didn't like me very much at the time. You know, no, because at the time we did the episode for my podcast, the Redcast, and normally they're about an hour long, sometimes more. I've had some that goes like an hour and a half. Ours was an hour and 50. And we could have quite easily kept going for longer.
I remember that. I actually listened to that.
Have you seen that?
Wow.
That was a while ago, wasn't it?
That was September, October 2020.
Yeah, that just had like the stars in it, and it was just like the stars were like.
Yeah,
moving.
there was no cameras in the first season of that for me.
I've seen that. Oh my god, okay.
From humble podcasting beginnings. Now look.
Yes. Because I remember you were mentioning Payday quite a lot in that.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I had to mention Payday wherever I could because it would get people to then watch it.
Yeah,
like the second episode of the podcast, I invited a guy who does like YouTube poops. He did like the schlock. I don't know if you've ever seen the schlock YouTube poops for Sherlock. They're worth watching. They're so good. But I brought the guy on for that, and then I like the titled it about like my first Payday video, and was like I was telling him about that because I thought that's a good way to bring people in, and it did increase the views, so more people watched it. So definitely. I was trying to usher Payday in wherever I can, but now I don't as much. And like I just put up on Saturday, I did an interview with the guy who plays Dr. Eggman, Mike Pollock, which was like a huge thing, and it's done really well on its own without being linked to Payday. So I'm just like, yay! It's a nice little reward. I don't know, it was cool because I was fully expecting it to flop, and it didn't, and I'm like, yes, great,
yes,
great.
a win.
You can never really tell. You just throw it out there, and like it's always those ones that you think are gonna do good, don't, and the ones that you don't think are gonna do well, do great. Like it's just like you can never tell like at all with the algorithm. It's like it wants to be your friend or not. It's just. You can never tell. Like,
obviously, our main thing is the podcast, but Connor cuts out little clips of the podcast every week just because they're so much more accessible for people to find us. Because, like,
absolutely, just
titling a podcast like The Green Death Review, it's like, I don't want to watch that and shit from the 70s.
We talk about all the news, just like you guys, obviously, and, like, you know, it's like a worthy clip, but the clip will literally maybe like 8 times out of 10 do better than the actual podcast episode because it's just like it's a
it's something I want to try and do more of. It's just finding the time to try and get those clips done. I need to be fully and crispy more to do it, you know. But,
that could be
get the whip.
He's to get his finger out, you know.
You guys can be the actual video editors, and we can be the clip editors, you know.
Yeah,
it's just honest work, you know. Someone's got to do it.
Hard day's work.
Yeah.
Speaking of, you had a guest on Sorry, I tried to do a really good transition. That really didn't fucking work there. But what I was trying to get back to...
Yeah, that's what matters.
You had, on Who's There, I think it was your most recent one. I was listening to it today.
Yes, this was great.
The Doctor Who Am I guys you had on.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. Did they reach out to you? Is that sort of the vibe I got? Or did you reach out to them?
I reached out to them because they both follow me on Twitter. Because
right.
like, I'd already booked to see the film. So like I knew who they were, obviously. I've just looked from like historically I knew Matthew anyway. But I got the follow for both of them and I was like, this isn't the people. And then I opened the Twitter and it was them and I thought, it's like, what? Why are they following me? So then I just sent them shot of both a message and went, thanks for the follow. Do you want an interview? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, let's do it. So it just kind of,
yeah, awesome.
it was really weird. Like I hadn't really planned it, but because I was going to see the film, it just worked out well. And I was like, let's make it happen.
Yeah,
it was great. And I think they said in the episode, didn't they? It was like, they were following. They said they were following influencers to try and push the film out. And I was like, again, it's like kind of like and you picked me, like a really kind of cool thing.
Yeah,
but
right.
I was really happy. It was funny that it was me they reached out to and not Crispy. That was what surprised me.
Yeah,
maybe
right.
they were looking for UK based, possibly. I don't know.
Maybe, but it was an awesome episode. And any listeners that haven't listened to Who's There, what are you doing? Jump over that. Stop listening to us. We suck. And go listen to Who's There.
Listen to both. They should spend 50% of their time watching you, 50% of their time watching us.
I see what you did there. That's it.
That was good. That was good.
I was just going to say, with the Doctor Who Am I episode, you convinced me within that episode to buy the Blu-ray, because I was like, obviously Australians, we haven't had the actual release, and they were there. They were saying, most of their return from it is going to be from the Blu-ray sales, and they were like, oh, and we're like pretty much a full independent production, and I was like, this Blu-ray is something that I'm gonna just keep putting off. Like I always wanted it, but I was like, I know I'm just gonna keep putting it off, like until it's the right time to get it. But I was like, fuck it, I'm just getting it now, and we're and so hopefully in like a month, whenever things get to Australia, I'll be able to watch it and give you my thoughts. Good press. Yeah, they did good press. They did.
I'll tell you what though,
it's been well received. Yeah.
When you guys like have someone on like the Who Am I people, are you still kind of like pinching yourself, or like do you get nervous about that kind of thing still? Because I know you do a lot of live stuff as well, and I feel like live would just terrify me. I feel like especially with this show where we have to cut out.
Then you'll be begging me to. Connor always gives me shit for cutting it out, and I'm like, I just think it could come off the wrong way.
It must be. That's a bit of a two-part question, but like it must be scary like all around a little bit.
I mean, God, you should have seen me the first time I did my first interview, because the first interview I did was a live one. I really didn't make it easy for myself. I interviewed actor called Damien Poitier, and the guy that you probably know him best. He was Thanos before Josh Brolin. He was Thanos in the end credit scene of the first Avengers film. Oh, he's big in Payday. He's one of the main characters in that, but that was his other like big thing that he played Thanos. And I was like, I'd spoken to him a few times via message, and then just kind of went, never interviewed someone before, this could be fun. Messaged him, and he was like, yeah, sure. And decided to make a live event out of it. I was horrific with nerves leading up to and during it. Like the whole time, I was just kind of sat there. I think I kept it hidden well, but I was sat there just like, because there was no camera, so I was very lucky on that front. I just had like a background of his Payday character and just had us chatting over it.
Right.
But I was terrified, and I still get a bit nervous now. But I think this sounds like such an ego thing. It's not. I think I've interviewed so many people at this point now that I'm better at controlling it. Like I will get a bit nervous, like in just like the immediate lead up and just the initial start of the call. But once I'm talking to them, it's just like a general chat. I think I've got the kind of the vibe nailed. I don't know. And with Matthew and Vanessa, it was like they were just like really chill people. It didn't feel so much like an interview as it did a chat. It was a nice kind of vibe, and that's what we like to go for. It's like what I like to go for anyway, and I think it came out well. I think so anyway.
No, I think so. I think it was great. I think
hopefully.
You guys all had like natural chemistry between the four of you, and I think I know it was just it was a fun listen, and also like me being like a film guy myself, it was great to hear them and their like story of how they got it made over 7 years. So yeah,
that was the thing, wasn't it? It took so long to make, because that's what I was saying to them, was that there was only a little shot of Jodie from the reveal, like for the 13th Doctor's reveal clip in there, and then at one point later someone was going, I've got the latest Doctors tattooed on my arm, Peter Capaldi, and I went, hang on a minute. I was thinking, wait, what? Because one of the things they said was they were going to go to Gallifrey 1 and explore like the impact in the US, and I thought, well, Mandip Gill was at Gallifrey 1 earlier this year, is it going to include that? And it turned out no, it was Gallifrey 1 from like 2015, 16 maybe. It was a while ago. So maybe not going to include Mandip Gill in that one, I don't think.
Yeah. Be a surprise if they did. But we'll link all that stuff down below. And because I really recommend you guys check it out, because it's an awesome podcast what you guys do, and I listen every week. It's a good time.
Oh, thank you guys. It's lovely.
When it comes to live streaming, I'm really interested in like the whole like YouTube live versus Twitch stuff. I follow that all the time. Would you say you prefer one? Because I feel like people have their like, I know Twitch people are very like defensive about like staying on Twitch, and people who are on YouTube are very keen about staying on YouTube and doing it live there. But do you have a preference, would you say?
It's difficult because I streamed on YouTube for like about 2 or 3 years because I wanted to keep everything on the one platform. I was kind of like, focus on building up the one thing. And I tried out Twitch, and I don't know, I feel like Twitch works better as a live streaming platform because I just, there's little bits like stream delay and things like that just work much better on Twitch. And I think I think people are more inclined to support via like subs and stuff on Twitch. I think like the super chats and stuff are good on YouTube, but it might just be my experience, but I don't know if people really are as inclined to support a YouTube live stream as they are a Twitch, because Twitch is more of that streamer culture of supporting streamers, I feel like.
Yeah.
But there's more merit to streaming on YouTube than people make out. When I switched to Twitch, loads of my audience were like, oh God, thank God you got rid of YouTube streaming. I was like, it's not that bad. And it's gotten better in recent years for sure. Like when we stream on YouTube for the podcast, it's good fun. I think there's pluses to both of them personally.
Well, I think, and you'll obviously have a better answer than I for this, but like, from an outsider's perspective, it seems like streaming the podcast, Who's There, has sort of been one of the things that has made it gain a lot more traction recently. Like obviously the Power of the Doctor stream went really well and stuff like that. So I guess
that helped a lot. Yeah. It's funny, because they do relatively well. There's been a couple of episodes that didn't do as well live, but then afterwards they gain more views. Like they tend to get more attention. But I said that to Crispy from the start. I was kind of like, right, when Power of the Doctor comes out, let's make it work that we do a live episode as soon as we can afterwards. And he was like, that's going to be a struggle for my sleep schedule, but let's plan it out, because he got up at like 5 or 6 in the morning to watch the episode and then do the live episode right after.
Like that,
It took a lot of planning, but I was like, I feel like this will be good for the podcast if he can do it. It might give us a nice little boost. Because he said to me, he was like, we'll try and get to 1,000 subs by the end of the year. And I was like, it's not going to happen. Let's get like 700, 800, we'll be fine. And we're on like 1,200 nearly now. It really did. It kicked us up, and it was great. It was a really nice thing to see, because, we've put a lot of effort into it, and it's nice to see it kind of getting a bit of traction for it. It's nice. It's a nice, rewarding feeling.
No, it's awesome. It's great to see you guys succeeding, and it's, look forward to whatever's next with it.
We've got plans. We've got plans.
Oh, well, I don't know if you should have plans, Troy, because, fuck, Connor, we didn't tell him.
What?
We probably should have, is he,
Wait, you can't this out?
Troy,
what's going on?
What's happening, lads? What's going on?
Wait, what?
Troy, you've died.
No. When?
Oh shit, no. Troy! Fuck, I'm so sorry.
No.
I should have told you at the start of the recording. Troy, you're dead.
Can't keep a straight face.
He's just laughing
just
away.
Just slumped to the beat. He started smiling.
Such is life,
Such is life,
Troy, how
smiling
did you die?
Even in death. That's the way you want to be,
Oh god.
How did you die, Troy?
I don't. How would I die? Probably just from like a heart attack from fangirling over it. Have you seen my freakouts over the Pale Waves thing at the weekend?
We've lost our camera.
Sorry, you were saying about how you
died.
Passed.
Oh yeah, no, I was just saying it probably.
It's like he's just dead. He passed. Yeah. Sorry.
Nah, you guys can plan it out better than I can. Clearly, go for it. How would I die? Go on.
I reckon I was going to say editing, like, for fucking... You just said till, like, 6 a.m.
That's a much better answer. That's a much better answer.
Just drop dead on the keyboard.
Yeah.
Like, that can happen.
I'm
sure it's happened to someone.
I felt like that when I was doing the Doctor Who my interview, so yeah, honestly, valid.
There you go.
It'll be like, Crispy will send you, like, a corrupt file or just something that's going to take you hours, and then just instant heart failure.
Your pop vinyls fall on you.
That's it.
Massive pile behind
you asked me to keep this cupboard open. That's what I was saying to you before we started recording this. I feel like most people from Who's There have not seen the open cupboard because I haven't opened it since the early days of the podcast.
I'm sorry, Troy. You got to go somehow, so it's the pops that are going to cross you, right? So that's why we have to keep it open.
Do you know what? That would be fitting. That would be fitting, honestly.
This is Who's to be buried with, Had to happen somehow.
Being crushed under them like
Who's to be buried with? Every single Doctor Who pop. Job done.
That is a good place.
It's topical.
That's a good flex.
It is a good flex, but it's also not a good flex for how little money I have. So,
so we'll run.
My room is evidence of this.
We'll run with "Crushed to Death" by Pops. All right, that's your death.
Yeah, valid.
I like it a lot. Troy, what do you think happens when you die?
We're getting deep.
So deep.
I thought about this, and I want to reference a very, very wise man.
Oh, okay. Peter Capaldi.
Have you ever heard of the wise man known as Keanu Reeves?
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Because he was once asked what he thinks happens after we die, and he said, "I know that the ones who love us will miss us." And I think there's no better way to answer it than that.
I love it.
And that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So I'm stealing his quote, but I love that. I remember seeing it because he did that in it was a talk show interview, and then as soon as he said it, the whole audience just claps. The talk show host shook his hand. He was like, "You know what? That's fine. We're leaving that there."
Yeah, I've seen that. That's just the best.
He took like 5 seconds to think it up and went, "Going with this." Like, I don't know how he did that. That was such a beautiful way to answer.
Yeah.
Well, never fear, because regardless of what happens, there's a heaven. In this world, at least, in this podcast, in the 50% podcast world, there's a heaven.
Are you telling me I've been sent to heaven?
You've been, yes, you have been heaven sent, confirmed. And the people.
Just insert that CSI music, in the background.
The people of 50% heaven, they want to talk to you, Troy. They want to find out some valuable information from you.
Saint Aidan and Saint Connor.
That's us. That's us at the pearly gates. Some angel wings.
With our halos.
And what we want to know, about your life through Doctor Who. Incredible.
Very
right?
well.
We want to know everything about it. So, we sit here in our little heaven. It's like what's the episode? Dark Water? Yeah. And like there's the office and it's the white walls and like Missy and
everywhere.
And that comedian guy there like talking to all the people. That's us right now in the purgatory of 50% heaven. Okay. We have a list of questions to find out your life through Doctor Who. Connor, would you like to take it away?
Absolutely. So, first question is, what was the first episode of Doctor Who that you ever saw?
That was Smith and Jones. Ooh. Series 3 opener.
That's a good one.
I feel that's a pretty good jumping on point.
I agree.
That's a pretty good starting point. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's better than Crispy's. James Corden. I know.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, of course.
I can't believe he started with Corden. I will never quite get over that.
No. Painful.
No, I don't know why I never jumped on with Doctor Who in series 1 and 2. There was some kind of reason or something, but I just kind of saw the adverts for series 3, and it was with Mum was like, we should watch Doctor Who. We should get started on this. So we just jumped on with series 3, and then within this course, I think it was just after series 3 finished, we watched 1 and 2. Like back to back pretty much, and then by the time series 4 came around, we were just fully on board and have been since.
Okay, cool.
And so you rewatched season 1 and 2 after season. You watched season 3 after. So season 3, and then you watched season 1 and 2.
As far as I remember, yeah. I'm not sure if we started watching 1 and 2 in the middle of 3. I think it was after we finished watching 3 personally, but I might be wrong.
Right.
What was your thoughts on Smith and Jones after you watched it?
It's such a good opener. I think it's one of the more underrated jumping on points for Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Because that's the first point where you haven't got Rose, so it's a good new companion jumping on point, because companions are meant to be the surrogates for the audience, right?
Of course.
So I feel not necessarily the best. The best jumping on points can often be with new Doctors, but I think it's arguably sometimes better to jump on with a new companion, because you're seeing an established Doctor possibly with a new companion, and seeing how they respond to that and getting used to that world. And David Tennant was already fully in his element by the start of series 3.
Yeah.
So you get to kind of see him on top form, because he's obviously, they spend a while getting used to their character, right? And I feel like by series 3, Tennant was fully formed as 10. Sometimes Doctors may take longer or shorter, but he was by series 3 he knew who his Doctor was, and it was a straight trajectory right through, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's good. I think
that is a really cool place to start, actually.
And not too many people, I think, start on Smith and Jones. Yeah. I don't think I've heard too many people say that was their first episode.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Unlike, we're unoriginal Rose.
Rose, yeah.
Yeah. We're so unoriginal.
Oh, everyone's Rose.
One of those.
It has to be done,
One of those people. Ugh.
Troy, do you like being scared?
Depends on the context, I suppose.
Well,
my bank balance scares me most days, and that's not good.
Yeah.
What is
Thank you very much. I'm here all night.
What's the scariest episode of Doctor Who you've ever seen?
This is difficult, but the one that came to mind when I was going, because that's why I keep my camera probably occasionally go white, because I've got the answer. I thought about these for ages, the way I was going to answer these. And I'm going to pick out for this The Impossible Astronaut. The reason being, the silence are like one of my favorite monsters. But as a kid, I was like, cool. How old was I? 10? Yeah, it was just before I turned 11, I think, when Series 6 started. So, like, the silence were, like, proper creepy monsters. And I found them, like, really unnerving. My mum did as well. And I remember, it was the only time I remember in, like, the newspapers the day after that, like, the broadcast, everyone was like, Doctor Who introduces monster that makes everyone actually hide behind their sofas again. Like, it was a big thing in the UK that was, like, they've introduced, like, a proper creepy monster that's even, like, creepier than the Weeping Angel. So, it kind of stands out to me because it was a really cool monster design and it kind of sticks as a kind of a creepy, uncomfortable one. So, I'd probably say that.
I don't know, man. I think the silence are pretty forgettable.
Leave.
Wow, I'm here all night. This is stand up.
To say that's a great
I'm the
pick,
guest and I'm telling you to leave. I'm in control now.
Yeah, just hang up on the zoo.
Yeah, I'm scared. I think I'm gonna get
guest, one giant leap for podcast kind.
I'm gonna get kicked off the podcast.
It's a great pick. I think it's a great pick.
I'm worried because I'm going to New Zealand in January and I'm being replaced for 3 weeks, and I feel like I'm going to be out of the job when I come back. I think.
Yeah, you might
by me.
Yeah.
It's just actually me. I just pop up there with next.
Troy's got 2 pods.
Might not invite Aiden back on the show. You never
3
know.
now. Yeah, I'll have 3.
Yeah, right. Sorry, 3.
God.
What's next, Connor?
Just adding them like Infinity Stones. That's all it is, you know.
All right, this is a great one. All right. Which episode makes you cry the most?
Ooh.
That's a great one. And that's a hard one. Mm-hmm. It's an emotional show.
Well, do you cry a lot, Troy?
Yes, very easily.
When
I
he
cried
sees
at the end of the new Sonic game. Like,
is that another bank account joke?
I will easily cry at things. Like I was saying, I cried at the end of the newest Sonic game. Like, I will cry at the end of a TV show or a film if I'm like a little bit attached to a character and something sad happens. Like, it's very easy for me to do that. But it has to be End of Time. Purely because of how distraught I was over David leaving.
Right.
Like, I did not stop crying for a long time. I was just completely inconsolable. I was pretty bad with Power of the Doctor, to be fair. Jodie's hit me quite hard, but End of Time is definitely, like, peak for emotion, I would say.
Yeah. It's an emotional roller coaster,
death was
that
quite
one.
sad as well. There's that from Face the Raven. That was quite sad.
I don't know. We were talking about Clara's one with Crispy because obviously that's the episode that Crispy was on.
Yeah.
It is indeed. I have heard it, and I heard him mocking me on it, and I didn't appreciate it.
That Crispy bro, my God.
That guy.
That guy.
That guy. He's a funny bugger. He is. Oh.
I think I said on it, like, I didn't get too emotionally because I love Clara, but when she died, I think just because it was just a raven like stabbing her, I think I was like, I don't know, I didn't feel the emotions too much. I feel it more in Hellbent, weirdly, but yeah.
I've got an image now of a raven just pulling out a knife and stabbing Clara.
I'm gonna get you.
just flies through her.
Let me be brave. Raven flies over, just shing.
Yeah, that at the time with that, come on, like absolute tearjerker.
Yeah,
like not a dry
funny
eye in
enough,
the house. So good.
The thing with that as well was my mum and I did a full rewatch of Doctor Who during like the lockdown in 2020. We did some of the watch-alongs and went, let's just rewatch the whole show. Face the Raven second time round really hit her more than me. Like, I obviously knew where it was going. I think she'd kind of forgotten how the Clara thing finished up. And she was gone. Like, she was, like, pretty bad with, like, emotions for that. Like, that really hit her. And I was like, do you remember quite how this switch went? No, I had no idea. This is really, really sad. Like, it really got her. Yeah. So I thought that was an interesting angle.
I say it's funny, but I guess in a way it's not. But it's funny how different people respond to emotions, right? Like, different people will cry.
Yeah. You're crying! You wimp!
But End of Time, that's a good one. I think, especially, like, it's a roller coaster the whole way there with, like, the David and Wilf stuff over Earth. Like, oh, man. And that scene now takes on a whole new lease of life, doesn't it? Okay, so which episode is regarded as terrible, but you don't care? You love it. It's your little love.
There's an answer I really wanted to give here, but like I said to you, I was trying to pick different answers for different episodes, and I feel like the one I want to pick, which anyone who's seen me on Who's There will probably know what I'm going to pick, I'm going to save for a later question.
Okay,
I'm not going to say what it is. You might know what it is, but I'm going to save it. I'm going to say Lazarus Experiment for this one.
Okay.
Because when I was a kid, that was literally my favourite episode of the show. I watched it so many times. There was something about it that I just found really cool. The concept, just like the monster that he kept like changing into, and just like kind of the battle between Lazarus and the Doctor. That I just love that kind of power dynamic. I thought that was a really interesting angle. And everyone dunks on the CGI, but it never bothered me. Like looking back on it now, it's goofy. But like for 2007, was it really as bad as people make out? I don't think so. personally.
I read those back in the day. Yeah, Mark's scripts are always like, they're never really that great, but they're always just so fun, you know?
It's not a Mark script, though. It's a Mark starring.
Stephen Greenhorn, who wrote Doctor's Daughter.
Oh, shit.
Maybe Connor should leave this podcast. I think that's what's going on.
Give me your... Dude,
Look, this is 17 DVDs, man, you're talking to. Like, that's how Crispy refers to me as.
Well, this is 17 DVDs.
So used to Mark.
We should probably explain that for anyone who doesn't know. We should probably explain that, shouldn't we?
Yeah, you go.
So we did a questions and quizzes episode of the podcast really early on, one of our weaker episodes, sadly. Go watch it. But no. So Crispy had like a couple of like Doctor Who trivia quizzes, and he was trying to test my knowledge because he's like, I feel like you know a lot of stuff. There might be some stuff you don't know. And then he literally came up with, in the episode Blink, how many DVDs were there? Blah blah. And before we even finished the question, I went 17, and he went, there were 3 options. I went 17. He was like, yep. Just like that was like a perfect example of how much needless Doctor Who knowledge is in my brain. That I just knew that without even getting the options. Like 17 DVDs, the 17.
Without raining on your parade, Troy, you know you're far better at that stuff than me in general. Like you with quotes, like you are. I knew that one. When he asked it, I was like, fucking 17. So I was like, I've got this one. But it's like you're so good at quotes. Like you mentioned, like we'll mention a scene, and then you're like, "Oh, this is the entire page of dialogue that happened in that scene."
Do you want to try it and see if I can really show myself up?
What does the Doctor say in the Oval Office in The Impossible Astronaut when?
That's a good one.
What does he need when they ask? Do you know the scene I'm talking about?
He needs a SWAT team ready to mobilise, a street level of maps covering all of Florida, a pot of coffee, 12 Jammy Dodgers, and a fez. I think that was in the wrong order.
That is pretty good, actually. Shit,
it's scary.
Wow.
It's the maps covering all of Florida first. SWAT team ready. Yeah, forget it. That's the stuff. It's in that order.
It's a pass from us. That's a win.
Yeah.
That's a win.
That is
Get him his maps.
So, what episode did you used to love but doesn't hold up anymore for you?
This was hard because like there's a lot of episodes that I just really like, and there's only a couple I'm not that big on. So it's not necessarily that I don't think it doesn't hold up anymore, but maybe on reflection isn't quite my favourite the way it used to be. Another one I used to really love was The Idiot's Lantern.
Right.
And that was a Mark Gatiss script, that one.
Mark.
So that was... that one was Mark. And give me that one.
Yeah.
I loved that at the time. Maybe it was the subconscious inspiration for my hair without realising the little pompadour. I mean, it was meant to be the lead singer of Bastille, but maybe it goes back as far as Tennant in Idiot's Lantern. Who knows? But I loved that story as a kid. I watched it a lot, and we used to make the joke with my mum constantly whenever he wanted to just always go, hungry! Because it was just like an easy reference thing for The Wire. But looking back on it, it's like, it's a very... It's fine. It's not like a bad episode, but it's not like a stellar episode. There's good elements to it, but looking back, I'm like, maybe not quite as special as I made it when I was a kid, I feel like.
Yeah, fair.
It's a bit of fun. Speaking of special...
It's good fun, yeah.
What is an episode that means the most to you? Not because of the episode itself, but because of the memories associated with it.
And this is where I back my boy. This is where I back Love and Monsters. Because that would have been the episode that I love and I don't care about it, but I was like... It's better used here, and the reason being is there's lots of things involving my mum at this point. But when we watched that episode, that was what got me into ELO, because a big thing about Elton's character was he loved ELO and like all the songs that were playing right the way through and Mr. Blue Sky. And not long after we'd seen that episode, it must have been just after Series 3 finished, to be fair, because I think it was the summer after then. But we went on holiday to the other coast of the UK, up by like Whitby, Scarborough. If you know where they are, you probably don't. And my mum found like a CD of like ELO's greatest hits. She bought it, put it on the car, and we were like blasting Mr. Blue Sky going down like the seafront, and it was like a really nice kind of like memory associated with that because I loved that album. We kept listening to it on loop, and it was all because of Love and Monsters. And that's kind of like our comfort episode. It's one that we both love. We don't care for any of like the issues people have with it. I think it's a great episode start to finish, and it's a nice little childhood memory, just loving that and having those kind of ELO memories. I think that's quite sweet. So that's
you and Connor have
such a great episode.
You guys have more in common than I like.
Well, that's literally the same
Love
for
and
me.
Monsters is so good, man.
It's so good.
You know what?
Like,
the sooner the society accepts it, the sooner we can evolve. You know,
literally the
it's
same,
like that
though.
society if meme, you know, and it's like everything's the future society if everyone accepted that Love and Monsters was good. Think of where we'd be. Think of where we'd be.
A terrible place.
I got into Electric Light Orchestra.
No, that's Fear Her. Fear Her is terrible.
Yeah, Fear Her's terrible. Yeah, I got into them as well through the episode, so that's literally like a big thing for me as well. Like with that episode, that's why I love it so much as well, because it's just like, yeah, it's just, you know, they're just a banging group, you know.
You also really like the pavement joke at the end, don't you?
Of course, yeah.
That's the only thing I'm not major on. I like the fact because I didn't realise that it was that joke at the time, and now I've looked back, I'm like,
Dude.
Okay. Ooh.
Yeah, I really just think it's really fun, and yeah, I'll always love it.
Yeah.
I got a pretty high score, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I got like fucking 7 or 6 or something like that. Pretty high.
I think I gave it.
I give it an 8 or a 9. I don't care. I think it's great. Yeah. Also, I love Mark Warren. I bet you have never seen a show called Mad Dogs.
Yes, I have.
No.
The UK one.
Yes. Yeah. Because we were massively into Life on Mars.
I love you. Oh, that's beautiful.
We love Life on Mars, so
I'll just leave
the same cast.
Oh,
as
yes.
Life on Mars.
Yes.
Yeah, Life
Philip
on Mars.
Glenister needs to be in Doctor Who. How has Philip Glenister not been in Doctor Who yet?
Yeah, he's amazing. Yes, that's.
His brother's been in. Robert Glenister was in. He was Edison, but Philip Glenister, no.
Yeah, yeah, no, that was like that got like fast tracked to UK TV back in the day, and again because we were big Life on Mars fans, it was just like, you know, but yeah, no, it's one
of the funniest shows. Like I never thought I'd see a short guy in a Tony Blair mask shoot someone at a party in Mallorca. Like it's a weird thing, and like just saying that, you're probably like, what? That's the show. It's just like a really dark comedy drama thing with Philip Glenister, John Sim, who we all know and love, Mark Warren, and not Woody Allen. What's his name? His character's called Woody. That's why I'm thinking of Woody Allen. Max Beasley, I think.
Max
Beasley,
his name? Isn't it? Yeah, Max Beasley.
Yeah.
Because he's a
they had about
drummer
4
as well.
series, and it's just so good. They go on a holiday and basically get wrapped up in some like drug cartel mafia stuff, and it's like a proper dark comedy thing. It's so good. I've been trying to look up how to rewatch it. So I'm going to probably buy the box set at some point soon.
That's on BritBox in Australia. I don't know if it's on... Do you guys have BritBox in the UK?
We are just pausing for a minute while I look on BritBox. If I find that Mad Dogs is on there and I didn't know, I'm going to scream.
I don't know if it's different with all the streaming rights in Australia and stuff. But
Wait, what?
I don't know if it's different.
I can't connect to BritBox. Why can I not connect to BritBox?
I was reading BritBox is like getting owned by like ITV now. It's like merging or something.
Oh, there we go.
I don't know what's going on there.
Okay. Oh yeah, the ITVX thing is very weird. It is weird. Mad Dogs is not on BritBox in the UK. You've hurt my feelings.
No.
We said it's on Australia. I could just VPN it then, surely.
There you go. Everyone needs a good VPN.
Oh. Well, there you go. I know what I'm doing later. Thanks for that, lads. Appreciate it. Woo!
And if a certain NordVPN ever wants a sponsor us, you can watch Mad Dogs here.
I'm using Surfshark, so either of them, you know, go for it. Go for it.
Hit us up.
Surfshark's that's definitely a UK one. I know all these like UK YouTubers who like promote Surfshark.
Yeah, it was from a promo. It was like, get 2 years for this plus like for like £30 or something plus 3 months free, and I was like, it's like 83% off. I was like, screw it, £30 for 2 years with a VPN. I'll do that. Whatever.
Everyone needs one.
Everyone, hit us, Connor.
Okay, so which episode has the best ending? This is a hard one. I feel like I don't even know if I can answer that.
Yeah, like the rest of the episode doesn't need to be great. Just the ending.
Hard. That is hard.
I don't know if you can see where I'm going with this one, because it's an episode that I have defended, or not defended, or raved about for its cliffhanger. If I say that, can you have a guess of where I'm going to go? I want to just see if you might know.
Cliffhanger. What episode has a great cliffhanger, Connor?
Rise of the Cybermen.
They're not going to guess it, listeners. They're not going to guess it. I don't.
Give us an error.
Think they know.
Give us a what doctor?
I feel like if I give you the era, you're going to know it immediately, but I'll go for it. Jodie's.
It's in Jodie's. Is it Spyfall? I know this in your podcast.
Yeah. I am such a fan of that Spyfall cliffhanger. There's several reasons to it. One was that, I think I've said this before, like I wasn't like as hooked on Jodie's era to begin with, especially series 11, because it just felt so detached. Like I'm rewatching it at the minute and I'm loving it a lot more, but because it was so detached at the time, I was like, I like Jodie, not so sure about the angle they're going with no classic monsters, blah blah blah. And then they brought in this master reveal that was out of nowhere because it had been leaked apparently ages before the episode, and I just missed it. Like now with the Doctor Who podcast, I'm so in tune with everything, my phone would probably pop up and tell me, the Master leaked in Spyfall, but at the time, nothing popped up my way, so I had no idea. So we did this reveal, and I was like, it's the Master, what's going on, what's happening? And it was like a cliffhanger where I was like, I cannot wait for the next episode. And because Jodie hadn't done any cliffhangers for a while, it had been like the first proper shock cliffhanger in years, because the last one prior to that was the John Sim reveal in World's Enough in Time, which, as you've no doubt documented, was revealed by the BBC. We all knew it ahead of time. And funny enough, a story said from my mum was that when Mr. Razor appeared on screen, within 2 seconds, my mum went, "That's John Sim." I would not have clocked it. I would not have clocked it, but she literally immediately went, "That's John Sim with face prosthetics," and I went, "Oh, you're kidding me! It is, isn't it?" And I literally was just like, "Oh, I hate that
That's the funniest thing. Like you knew instantly.
Yeah, I think I messaged you.
You were like, it was so dumb. You could so tell it was John Sim, and I was like, I didn't know.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
I was such a fucking idiot. Like Jesus.
Yeah, like I should have known that. It's like I've said another one was with House of Gucci. She wanted me to watch that film. And I had no idea it was about, like, the main... I can't remember his name, but the guy getting assassinated in the Gucci film. I had no idea he'd even been assassinated. I don't follow Gucci stuff. So she was, like, trying to pitch the film to me. And I was like, Lady Gaga and Adam Driver are in it. That's enough for me. I like Adam Driver. And she was like, oh, it's about, like, him getting assassinated. And I was like, he gets assassinated? She was like, yeah. I went, oh, so it's going to focus on that? She went, yeah, sure. And then it's a 2.5-hour film that culminates in him being shot. I was like... You could have not told me that, and it would have completely changed my perspective of the film. She was like, everyone knows this. And I was like, well, I didn't know this. I
can't remember if I knew when I watched it, but it's I didn't rate it that much as a movie.
Spoilers, I guess.
Yeah, spoilers for House of Gucci.
Apparently everyone else knew this, so it probably isn't. Because I said this to Crispy and he was like, "You didn't know that?" And I was like, "No, I didn't even have a clue."
All you Gucci fans out there, I'm so sorry if we spoiled House of Gucci. That's
father son House of Gucci.
Crying to their Guccio belts. So yeah, Spyfall. I love Sacha Dhawan's master. He might be my favorite master.
He's very good.
I don't know. He's like John Sim's manic energy, but turned up even more. I feel like he's got like a little bit more of a manic edge than even John Sim did. I just love Sacha as a person. I think his personality is amazing, and it comes across the master perfectly. And the reaction of Jodie and just the cliffhanger of her being taken away and the plane going to crash. I mean, most of the time with Doctor Who cliffhangers, you're always like, well, they're going to find some way to get out of it. They always do. But it's one of those cliffhangers where you're like, I really don't know how they're going to get out of this. Like, how are you going to stop a plane without a cockpit from crashing? How is that going to work? So it was an interesting one, but I loved that cliffhanger. I thought it was just astonishing. So in terms of endings, like that's the first ending that came to mind. So I was like, that was one where it was like, wow, like that's something special.
Yeah, I remember I really rated it as well at the time.
Yeah, Chibnall's era had some like really great reveals, like and just some surprises.
Chibnall's era is just really good. People need to stop sleeping on it. Yeah, well, that's in the story.
Yeah, that's why we're really looking forward to our rewatch because I wasn't a huge fan of like season 11 particularly, so really excited to see
when we get there next year.
Yeah,
very keen.
Hey, if you do returning guests, I'll have no excuse. I won't take any excuse to talk about Jodie, lads. I'll take any excuse.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, more than welcome. It'll be cool to have you on a review episode because what's weird, this is the first time we've had a guest on, but we've not been reviewing something.
Yeah. I'm honoured. Yeah, I'm the template, aren't I, for this new show?
Yeah. So, audience, if this worked and you are enjoying this, let us know in the comments, and we'll do more.
Because we're going to be running out of episodes soon. We've only got
there's only 3 seasons left.
One more season with Peter, and then just Jodie's era, and then that's it.
And we've already reviewed live Revolution onwards. So
yeah, so we've done all Flux and the specials and all that. So this is the stuff we're going to be doing more of.
Exactly. So, just little fun things.
Little fun things.
All right, so
other podcasters' ideas.
We're stealing this direct from Brett.
We did that with Who's There. We had like about 10 or 15 episodes planned out from like 20 onwards, and then as we started to get towards the end, we were like, wait, what else are we going to do after this? Like, we need to plan again. So like, we managed to plan up until just after Christmas, but we're going to have another chat soon. It's just... trying to come up with ideas, lads. It's hard sometimes, you know. You want to do things that will pop, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
So we talked about a great ending, but what about a great opening?
Ooh.
What's the best like cold open pre-title sequence or that kind of thing? What do you rate?
Stolen Earth.
Oh, that's the correct answer.
I shit you not. I thought about that at work today. That is exactly what I would have said.
Wow.
Yeah, shit. I mean, look, like you can't. That is like the culmination of an entire era, like in a better way than any showrunner has done it. Because that was more just the way Rusty T Davies worked. Obviously, Moffat and Chibnall. Chibnall's kind of was a big collective thing, but it didn't have unique segments in it as much. Maybe with Flux, but Yaz was right the way through. There weren't really any break off points in Chris's era. It kind of all was one big thing in a way. With Russell's, you had 9 and Rose, then 10 and Rose, 10 and Martha separately, 10 and Donna separately. So there were these kind of distinct chapters. And then they were all brought back together for Stolen Earth. And just getting to see 3 shows that I was watching concurrently. Well, maybe not as much as Torchwood because I was really young, but I was seeing like bits of like all of them. Seeing them all come together in the main show for a Dalek threat was just like so good. There was it goes beyond the opening to it. It's the whole setup of the episode really. In particular, Elizabeth Sladen's reaction to hearing the Daleks. The way she breaks down is is one of the best acting moments in Doctor Who.
Very good.
Amazing.
Very good. You know what always gets me in Stolen Earth about Liz Sladen? And this is like, I think it's the ending. It's like the second last shot or something. But when the Daleks like come at her and she goes,
I'm sorry.
and they zoom in, and it's such like a classic Doctor Who, like zooming in on Liv Sladen.
Yeah, there's a bit of a classic zoom, isn't it? She's like, woo, yeah.
Yeah, and like the fact that like, you know, it's one of those things where no one's actually just going to sit there and go, oh, but that's what they did in Classic Who, right? Like they would always just like close their eyes and like, oh, I'm being threatened. And they, I really rated how it was like a homage to her time in the 70s, I think.
And speaking of her, shout out to Sarah Jane Adventures, now on BBC iPlayer again.
Correct, you heard it here first. Troy doing the news better than we can.
Thanks for breaking the
There you go. Well, I was like, hey, you got to mention the news. There you go.
That's it. That's our clip. Just 15 seconds.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you for
that. There you go. Well, make it into a clip properly. You know. Talk about Sarah Jane Adventures. What do we like about Sarah Jane Adventures? Come on, lads. Come on.
Troy.
I'm
giving you a YouTube video here. Come on, roll me.
Now that is on BritBox, I think, actually.
Is it? Well, because I don't have it.
I think it is.
It was one of the only reasons I still had it. It was that and the thick of it. And now I'm like, well, how much do I love Capaldi?
A lot, I'd hope.
Yeah.
Yes, think of it as like my other favourite TV show behind Doctor Who. I feel like I will watch that endlessly, so I'll probably still keep BritBox.
It's very good.
It's nice that Sarah Jane Adventures is more accessible again. I like that.
Yeah, we're wanting to...
Torchwood got that treatment.
Once we run out of episodes of Doctor Who, I think then we're going to start doing some Sarah Jane episodes. Yeah. And I think I'll buy the DVD, like the box set though, because I've got like all the rest of Doctor Who. Like I'm not just going to... I don't know, it'll probably be on like Disney Plus then, because... You'll never experience the Disney
Imagine if they did
Steelbooks
Australia. For Sarah Jane. Oh.
That would be... I don't think they'd do that. I'd love them to.
They won't do that, but imagine if they did.
Yeah. Oh. That would be very good.
That'd be delicious.
You can get them on Etsy. I've seen them there.
Yeah, you can get custom Steelbooks on Etsy, to be fair. That's a good point. Like, I got the pop I showed you earlier.
Yes. There you go. Do you want to show it off? Are you saving that for your pod?
Yeah, go on. I kind of want to. Yeah, look at that.
Go on.
It's a Yaz.
Wow.
I'm proud of the Doctor. She's actually got a gun. I don't know if you saw that, but she's got a gun.
Wow. That's great.
It was funny because the girl, Nicole, from an Etsy account called Pops and Pieces, she was like, we were talking about it because she had a version, I think it was from Ranscore, and like I was like, I want a Power of the Doctor version. I like designed the box to send to her. I was like, I really want it because I've seen so many boxes. I want to design one like the way I want. So she was like, yeah, sure. Buy a template, make it, and send it my way. But we talked about it, and we were planning out like how to do the Yaz outfit. And there was like one with a leather jacket, it'd be good. She went, there's this one. She went, don't worry, I'll remove the gun. And I went, hang on, no, she has a gun in the episode. Keep that. That works. Yeah. Keep the gun. No, that's cool. Fine. That kind of fits the vibe. Yeah. So, but it's beautiful because I wanted that to go with the San Diego Comic Con 13 one because I got that signed by Jodie. And I hate that we haven't got a Yaz pop. So I was like, I'll get this. When next time Mandip goes to a con, I'll get her to sign it, and then they can go together, and it'll be a nice little pairing.
And it'll be extra special because she'll be like, I've never seen this one before. This is a new original.
Exactly.
I don't know if she keeps track, but
imagine. And then she looks at the box and goes, "This box is really cool." I go, "Thanks, I designed it myself. Thanks very much."
Yeah. Ha ha ha. Very cool.
But yeah,
one day we'll get people actually.
So Sarah Jane is very cool.
And actually be able to meet them.
Every con I check like the listing and I'm like, there's a comic book artist. I don't read comics.
We met Arthur though. That's cool.
Yeah, Arthur Darvill came.
Why didn't you go to Supernova one to see Alex Kingston? Did you go to that?
It wasn't in Perth.
Yeah, we're in Perth, which is a 5-hour flight from over east, which is where Crispy and well,
all I'm hearing are excuses, lads. What's going on?
We should do a vlog where we like for a weekend just go and like film like a really action-packed vlog.
If they got a doctor over east, then I would consider going over for it.
That's valid. Yeah, I get that.
Right, our parents would look.
Where was Christopher Eccleston? To be fair, he was at an Australian con earlier this
year.
Chris
was there, but I didn't know till after that he was there because I obviously don't really check those that much.
Crispy was the same. He was like, oh, Christopher Eccleston's coming to a con later in the year, and then he was there 2 weeks later. He was like, I didn't realise it was that soon.
Yeah, it was crazy. Kingston she went to Adelaide, which is still like 5 hours away, or like maybe 4 hours away from us.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Part of my soul was like, do it, Aiden, but the other part was like, don't do it, Aiden.
If an actual doctor comes though, that would be like so crazy if we just like left.
My dream is to get my collection box sets from the Classic Who to get them signed by doctors and companions.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I don't think that's ever going to happen living in Perth. Yeah. Jolly old Perth.
Just move over to the UK, lads. Come on, job done. Come on.
I mean, I'd love to live in London, but you can have that argument with my girlfriend if you like, Troy.
Just persuade her to move over as well.
Done.
Just uproot your whole life. It's really easy once you know what you're doing. Okay.
Should we just start lifting this shit and start just taking it over? Yeah.
Exactly. Just get in a skip, get the skip on a plane, fly it over, job done.
Do you and Crispy have any, I know you always joke about it, but do you actually have any plans, like, cemented to try and meet and do an in-person ep?
Wow.
Not cemented, but we're hoping to do something for the 60th. That's kind of like our little idea at the minute. It'd be really nice to kind of do something for that. That'd be good. Hopefully we can make that work. If we still tolerate each other by then, we'll have to see.
Dude, that's
Oh, he gets annoying at times. You know, he's a little bit of a pain. You know, I'm not. He's a little bit annoying now.
You just hate Australians, Troy. That's all I'm hearing.
I do actually. It is a bit of a problem. It's a deep-rooted thing. I think it comes from my ancestors.
Like,
you know,
sometimes they just say words funny. You know, that's.
They do. They have a weird obsession with shrimps and Barbies. I don't get it. God. I really don't.
I hate that analogy. No one fucking says that, Troy.
I know. Oh, I'm sorry.
What's next, Connor?
Which episode do you most relate to?
That was the quickest segue from anything ever. You really didn't like that Barbie joke, did you? You really didn't like it. You really didn't like that, did you? Oh.
No, go on. I'll put some bloody... I mean, I don't eat seafood anymore, but I'll put some shrimps on the Barbie for you.
Seafood, you eat it.
Good man. Sorry, so what was it? What do I relate to? Which episode?
Yeah, what shrimps do you put on the Barbie? No, what episode do you most relate to?
I couldn't. Right, I've got a bit of an answer, but I kind of don't know whether to go with just the joke answer or go with my actual answer. Which one should I go with?
Both, yeah.
Both. Okay. The joke answer is 11th hour because, like Jeff, I need to get a girlfriend. Maybe not for the same reason. I wouldn't have Matt Smith walking on me on the laptop, but just for the concept of getting a girlfriend.
What's on the laptop? Right,
you know.
Get a girlfriend.
Although if Matt Smith did come into my room, that would be very cool. I'd be like, "Hi, I really like you. You're a very cool guy." But I'd probably be watching Doctor Who on my laptop rather than anything else, or playing Sonic Frontiers because I need to keep playing that. It's a problem.
I'm not sure how I would react if Matt Smith just walked into my room.
I have a few questions.
Yeah, it's a good point. If anyone you liked really walked into your room, you'd be like, how did you get it? The door's locked.
I don't know. I'd be like, this is intruding, but also you're Matt Smith.
It's like when 10 to 7, you got your legs on silent. You have to have the TARDIS on silent to not hear the Doctor walking into your room. I mean, my posters would go flying. Nothing will be stuck to the wall if a TARDIS landed in here.
That's how you die. The TARDIS comes in, it swells everything around, the pops come flying, and then it crushes you.
Like Graham's, Graham's chair that gets destroyed by the TARDIS?
You broke my chair.
That's Troy, the chair.
You broke my chair. Crushed. Well, if you will leave things lying around. My other answer there was Lazarus Experiment, purely because that's why it's an overlap, but I'm kind of glad the overlap one is one I had another answer for. Was because I kind of like the debate about like mortality, which is very deep, but it's like, you know, saying about I love the line the 10th Doctor has of some people live more in 20 years than others do in 80. It's not the time that matters, it's the person. I love that. That's like a really like nice idea that, you know, if you live a short life, you know, as long as you make the most of it, that's what should matter more than how long the life is.
Well, you've apparently just lived a short life because you have just died.
That's it, yeah.
So
I've been crushed by pops. 23 years of age on the scrap heap. It's no life for me, is it? Honestly. But no, it's a very human thing, isn't it, to want to cheat death, to want to challenge death, and to want to not die. You know, but there's also that thing. It's and the Doctor's such a good mirror for that, and you get to see it. Like I realized it more growing up what good of an analogy it was to put against someone who does live for so long, who sees everyone else they know die. Like, what was it? Was it Capaldi who said it was Capaldi, wasn't it? Who said living forever, immortality isn't living forever. It's watching everyone else die. It was something like that. He said it was like it's watching everyone else die and you having to live on. Which is it's fair. It's a dark thing to think about. Like, if you did live forever, you'd watch everyone else die. So it's kind of like, it's a nice metaphor, that episode about like the beauty of life, and that, you know, this sounds very, very, very deep, this, doesn't it? It's like it is kind of like short and fleeting, and it's you make the most of it while you've got it. You know what I mean?
Definitely. I mean, this episode of the podcast is kind of about death.
It's about death.
It's fine.
Hey, it's on brand. It's on brand. There you go.
I work
just gonna whack myself over the head with a pop.
I work quite close to death. I do like live streams, and like 9 out of 10 live streams will be a funeral. So I witness like 25 funerals a week. I think a lot about death, and so when we turn the tables on us one day,
for this show, honely,
I know
you're perfect.
Yeah, blimey,
for the death show.
When we turn the tables on us one day and we do this with ourselves, it'll be interesting to talk about death with each other. I think
definitely,
because I've got thoughts about death.
I can't really hear it.
Bring me back on. We'll turn it round and I'll ask you the questions.
Ah, that's cool. Yeah, you ask the questions. Clever.
So tell me about your podcast. How did you two meet? What's going on there? Come on.
Unfortunately, we ran into each other at school, and then the rest is history.
Unfortunately,
yeah. You guys have known each other for so long, haven't you? That's what's so cool.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I actually don't know the actual
my headphones are gone.
It was since year...
It was year 8 camp, so that was...
a long time ago. We graduated in 2016, so...
Gee, blimey. Is it the 10-year anniversary this year?
Is it this year? Shit.
Yeah, because it was we were talking about Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, which was 2012. So
correct.
Yes. What an amazing episode, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship.
That's how we met. So and then and the rest is history.
Ups and downs, and we'll get into that in episode 200.
Oh, the 200. Yeah, you finally addressed the previous.
The T,
the B.
The 2 in 200 stands for T.
Everything just gets laid out on the table.
All revealed. Okay, Troy. Look, mate. What episode? Objectively, it doesn't have to be your favorite, but what's an episode that you look at it and you just think that is probably the best made episode of Doctor Who?
I don't want to be that guy, but I kind of have to say it, and it also feels very topical for this episode in particular. Heaven Sent.
Yeah,
I feel like everyone's going to say that.
Yeah. But it's
everyone's going to say that. I'm not sure if it's my personal favorite. It's definitely one of my favorites, but just. It might be a little bit too confusing for some people. I do know people who found the concept a bit hard to get their head around to begin with and understands. It may not be the most accessible story immediately for someone who doesn't know Doctor Who very well. Right. But I think it's mainly because of Peter Capaldi's acting capabilities, really. But him being able to carry a solo story, it sums up Doctor Who. Just like the sci-fi concept, the monster chasing you around, trying to solve puzzles, and there's just acting and music perfection. The fact that Series 9's soundtrack has a disc entirely composed of Heaven Sent tracks says enough.
Yeah.
Like that is so wild to me. It's a 4-disc soundtrack and one of them is just the Heaven Sent music. That is so funny to me. I love that.
The score's so good there that it kind of became 12's theme in Series 10 and stuff. They kind of got rid of the good man theme.
Did you know The Shepherd's Boy, that track, actually was in the 50th anniversary first?
Oh, is it at the end when they're all coming together?
Yeah, it's when they're in the shed and they're coming up with the plan about freezing Gallifrey. The same motif of starts playing, and I only heard it when I went back to 50th recently. I was like, wait, that wasn't you in The Shepherd's Boy, and I always was kind of sad. I was like, oh, he took the motif and made it into Capaldi. He should have been Capaldi's from the start. What do you mean? But it is one of the best pieces of music in Doctor Who.
It's foreshadowing the eyebrow reveal. Okay, of course. That's what we'll say in our headcanon.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Fair enough.
All right, which episode have you watched the most?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow.
What did I actually say for this in the end?
It honestly wouldn't surprise me if you said The Power of the Doctor, even though it only came out a month ago.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've already seen that about three or four times. I need to watch that again, to be fair. I really need to. But I literally put a my answer because I saved the document separate to you so you wouldn't see what I wrote. Yeah. And I put, trying to pick something different, I'm going for Tooth and Claw because I watched that a lot as a kid. That was another episode like Lazarus Experiment and Love and Monsters that I did watch a lot. I was a kid, I probably was too young, but I remember watching An American Werewolf in London when I was a kid. The old horror film that I just thought was really cool. And I love something about werewolf transformations just really fascinated me as a kid, as a concept and a horror thing. And seeing that in Doctor Who, when I thought it was genuinely really well done. Especially that was the year before Lazarus Experiment, the CGI and that and the way that was put together. Almost uncomfortable for all the bone crackings. I forgot how much of that there was when he's screaming. I was like, ooh, that's
terrifying.
It's a little bit. But the transformation is phenomenal, and I love the episode that comes out of it. I think it opens a bit weird with the whole jumping about ninja stuff with the guys in the red robes. I was like, is this Doctor Who? This is a bit weird. But the episode is just amazing. It's a really, really good episode.
It's strange because when we did the rewatch, one thing that we noted when we went to season 2 was that it was obvious that season 1 they sort of were very open to being quite dark, and it was a much darker series. And then series 2, you could tell it was a bit more we've got a massive audience, let's make it a bit more family friendly. And so it's weird because it's I think in general it's a more lighthearted season, but then you have episodes like Tooth and Claw and Girl in the Fireplace to an extent that are much darker.
Yeah, definitely.
Tooth and Claw in particular is
still trying to
very dark.
It was season 1 I was trying to find its audience, then season 2 it felt like almost it was still trying to
trying to find its tone.
Yeah, like, you know, and like understanding that there are probably like older people and younger people watching it and trying to please the masses, I guess. But yeah,
definitely
a scary episode for when.
Good answer. And great score. Great score.
So good.
So good. Yeah, absolutely.
What is, and we don't want to be negative for too long here, Troy, so we'll move on very quick from this one, okay? But
good.
What is an episode? Didn't really come together for you. What's the worst episode of Doctor
Who? There's only a few episodes I don't really like. I'm not going to say In the Forest of the Night, because that's too easy. I'm not a big fan of Fear Her. I said it was terrible earlier, and I realised I was like, I don't think it's terrible. It's not like a big one for me. This is more recent. When on rewatch, I watched it and was like, this really is not good. The Doctor in the Wind and the Wardrobe. I don't think I quite said that right, but that episode, I rewatched it and was like, this is not. It's not that good. It's not that good. The acid rain, the wooden creatures. They had Bill Bailey. You don't waste Bill Bailey. I couldn't I was just like. Ugh.
A year after Christmas Carol, which is like
the best.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
It's not, but that's unrelated.
What's the best? What's the best?
Voyage of the Damned, easily, hands down.
That's very good. To be fair, I'll allow it.
The best Christmas special. No, the best Christmas. I don't care whether you're allowed it or not. It's just a fact. It's up to you whether you admit the truth or not. You know, accept it. I'm the monks and I'm telling you the truth. Voyage of the Damned is the best Christmas episode. End of.
It is very good.
No, seriously, and it's a good point. Christmas Carol, to be fair, when Christmas Carol first came out, I wasn't a big fan of it, but I've liked it more retroactively. But yeah, when you compare those two side by side, you are like, yeah.
It's
also,
like
I noticed that
so different.
There's that weird green screen moment at the start of the episode, isn't there, where he's like jumping off the spaceship, and then you can just tell he's been superimposed on a ship exploding. You can forgive so much goofy stuff in Doctor Who, but I remember seeing that bit and going, that is much worse than I remember it being. Wow, that is something.
Yeah, when we reviewed Doctor Who Goes to Narnia on the pod, I remember the first half of it was like I was like hella into it.
Doctor Who Goes to Narnia.
That's what it's called on the Spotify listing, isn't it?
Every episode of our podcast is called the episode we review, and for that one I just called it Doctor Who Goes to Narnia.
It works.
I remember like enjoying the first half and being like, "What am I talking about? This is good. This is good shit."
Hammocks!
And then like all of a sudden, like it just takes a turn, and I'm like, "Oh no! Oh, it's bad. We're going downhill a lot here." And I think the ending's nice and wholesome.
Pretty much.
Yeah. The ending works for me a bit. It's kind of wholesome, but the VFX
in places
it looks pretty, except the VFX. And I remember when we did the pod, we found out that it was like. They finished shooting like late September.
It was really,
So they had like October, November, and a bit of December to like edit and do the entire post-production process. So like, I'm sure like the VFX was like attacked on 2 seconds. Didn't Murray say he had a week to do the score?
Yeah, Murray had something like a week or 2 weeks.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Blimey.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's fair.
That man's insane.
What is the funniest laugh out loud episode?
Ooh.
This was a tough one, and it's not necessarily because I don't find Doctor Who funny or something. It was because I couldn't think of like an episode on its own that like I'm like that is like a funny episode of Doctor Who. And I'll probably go back and like think of things after this. But I picked out 3 for like key scenes. One is The Sound of Drums, because I remember as a kid the scene in the cabinet where he's like, funny is like this.
Yeah.
Not funny is like this. And classic. That, and also when the Tocklefane kill Vivian Rook and he keeps opening the door to hear her scream, then shutting it and opening it again and shutting it. There's that. Last of the Time Lords when he's pushing the Doctor around to Scissor Sisters, and most recently Power of the Doctor dancing to Rasputin. Like classic. Goofy stuff like that is just like top tier for me. Like it's the kind of stuff like there's a level of Doctor you can just get away with, and like that kind of level is just so good to me. So like I picked a few moments rather than episodes, so I'm cheated a bit, but I suppose because I picked 2 from Sound of Drums, if I had to pick one, I'd say Sound of Drums, probably.
Yeah.
Oh, also, because the Sound of Drums, that has the phone conversation as well, where the Master goes, are you asking me on a date? No, Sound of Drums, I'll pick that one out. That's probably the funniest out of the choices.
Just a great episode all around. It balances like those funny comedic moments, but with like a real dark tone underneath. That's like, oh, this means business, you know?
Also, when I was a kid, I didn't realise Wild Goose Chase was a figure of speech, so when he said he'd sent Torchwood off on a wild goose chase, I thought he meant they were literally off chasing wild geese. That's a fun fact. I genuinely thought that. I'm not even sure my mum knows that. I'm going to tell her on this and she'll listen to it and she'll go, you what? She listens to Who's There every week. It's lovely. It's so sweet.
Oh, that's awesome. My parents are always like...
our parents never do that.
My mum's asked to listen, and I'm like, Mum, you don't want to.
You should. Because, I don't know. I don't think my parents would ever listen.
Yeah.
I think my dad subbed on YouTube, but I don't think he knows how to, like, find it. I don't think he knows what, like, a sub feed is or, like, anything
What is a
like
podcast?
That. Yeah. I don't think he really knows what a podcast is, to be honest.
I remember for like the first like year and a half of doing this show, my parents were like, "Are you going down to do your Doctor Who audio thing today?
Your blog?
You're doing
my parents call it a blog.
Yeah,
like, it's not really a blog.
It's a
thanks.
podcast.
It's a podcast, Mum.
It's a podcast.
It's not a phase.
So Troy, you're dead. You've got
Rip.
Yes.
You know, you're covered in pop vinyls. It's all a mess. You know. Your mum's
really
called
does
us.
sound like heaven to me, buddy. I don't know. No.
Your mum found you. She's called me and Connor, your boys, over to come and you know, just
Still
clean
your
you
Jodie
up.
pop vinyl.
You know, and
that got left for us in the will.
Well, we can
take the
we'll
Jodie
just
one.
pocket them.
Chris, we might have something to say about that, but yeah, go on.
So we've come. We've got we got the coffin. We'll put you in the coffin. We'll give you the pop vinyls too. They're with you in your final moments.
One or two.
We'll throw them all in the coffin as well. There we go. We're all in. But, you know, by the time all your hefty amount of pop vinyls, which you can see behind you, by the time they're all in the coffin, there's only enough room for, one disc, half a disc containing one episode of Doctor Who. So what is the episode of Doctor Who that you want to take with you to the people in 50% Heaven that best represents your love for Doctor Who? Deep thought.
It's going to be far in the future where you can fit the entire series onto a single disc, and I would have that in the
You
coffin
cannot
with me.
cheat. You cannot cheat.
Well, I'm going to have to, unfortunately, because I didn't know you were going to say one episode, and I picked a story. I picked a 2-episode story.
Okay, you can do that. We'll give you. We'll do that.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind of you. Thank you.
Well,
Aidan.
with the angels of 50%, we've got to be nice.
you know, we see a lot.
Okay, all right, good. An episode for each of you. There you go.
Yes.
Thank you.
I did mention Stolen Earth already, but the two-parter of Stolen Earth Journey's End as a whole is like, it's one of those that's just peak Doctor Who. All these characters, you've got like classic with Sarah Jane, you've got modern with like Torchwood and some of Sarah Jane's characters, you've got David Tennant, Catherine Tate, you've got Billie Piper coming back, you've got Martha, all these other characters showing up. There's a huge kind of like crossover event. And people made this joke before, but obviously, you know, everyone goes, oh, Infinity War was the most ambitious crossover, but Doctor Who was doing it in 2008, you know? 10 years prior. They had a pretty ambitious crossover on a BBC budget to bring these 3 shows together and have them all tie in. And in a way that was nice, like, because sometimes, like with like Arrowverse stuff, when they used to do like Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow and all this doing crossovers, you had to watch an episode from each of the shows. And it's like, I get that, but also I wasn't watching any of the shows, so it was just a hassle being like, which episode do I have to watch here, and then blah, blah, blah. Doctor Who was just like, 3 shows in the main one, have fun. And it was just a really nice way to do that crossover. It was a really accessible and fun way. The story was great. I knew who Davros was by that point, I think because of the Battles in Time trading cards. It's like I knew he was the creator of the Daleks. So like when I saw the hand as a kid, I was like, what, 8 years old? I was like, it's Davros! It's Davros! And I was like, who? I was like, it's Davros! It's Davros! So like I got excited about that. The Supreme Dalek, which is, can I reach it? I don't think I can reach it. I have the Eagle Moss figure. I was gonna flex, but I can't.
Flex
I
flex
can't
away.
Reach it.
Flex.
There it is.
Flex.
The best Dalek design possibly ever. Maybe, I don't know.
Wow.
I love that.
Beautiful.
It's good.
I love that
It's good.
Supreme Dalek. That or hot take, possibly, probably is the Revolution Daleks. I think that is also. That is
not me shitting on them last week saying I hate them.
All the comments section.
I got so much shit for that as well.
All the comments are like, "What's
you
with
deserved
the hate?"
it. You deserve it.
And I was like, you know,
the Revolution Daleks, mate. Hang on, let me get back up because
that's just my shitty takes, you know.
Classic. That's what this podcast
it is. No, that actually is. That actually is. That's all it is. The Revolution Daleks are delicious.
It's funny. Like I was like, I'm sure some people agree with me, and it was like,
nope.
Even you were like, I like them, and I was like, okay.
I like them with the blue, with the little blue light.
The new improved Brit ones.
Blue and red, both the lightings look good, really. I think the red maybe was like a little bit more menacing, maybe, but just the design was so sleek. I love it. I love it. Bring him back.
A classic hater.
Well,
hey, they said they're getting rid of the Time War Daleks, so you know.
Thank God.
Yes, of course.
Thank God. I love them.
I'm not sure how happy I am about that. I like they've been such a staple for all this time. I'm glad they are going to move on. But not seeing them ever again now would be a little bit weird because they've been here on and off for so long. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we were saying that maybe in like a couple of years they'll do like maybe like an Asylum of the Daleks type thing where they pop up.
Exactly.
Again, but who knows? You know, like it's.
They'll be back.
I feel like nothing's ever really gone per se.
Yeah.
With Doctor Who, I feel like I can just bring it back when they want.
All right,
but yeah,
Skywalker.
a new design would be great. You know, I'm looking forward to a new design.
Yeah, same. Something nice, something different.
Yeah.
Yeah, something less bronze is my take. Troy.
Fair.
You have successfully made it to the afterlife in heaven, along with all your pop finals. I like how I'm like waving my hands like it's behind us.
Yeah, I've managed to go to heaven with the poster of the 50% Doctor Who podcast. That's great. But
the pearly gates is the 50%
yes,
podcast,
you step through it.
Poster.
And ta-da!
All yours.
You have been an amazing guest. Troy, thank you very much for being on the show. Would you like to plug, where can we find you? You got anything coming up?
Plug it,
yeah, you tell us. If you want to send me links, I'll put them down below in the pod. You let me know.
How much can I share? How long have I got?
Well, you got to promote yourself.
Do whatever you got to do.
No. So the main channel for me is Red Archer Live. You can find that on YouTube and on Twitch. And the Doctor Who podcast, you can also find me on Twitter under Red Archer Live as well, and Instagram. Twitter I'm much more interactive on, so if you want to talk to me, that's probably the best place, if it's still alive in a few weeks' time. And the podcast is Who's There, a Doctor Who Podcast. That's on youtube.com/@Who'sThereDW, because there's the weird handles thing now. It's odd. I don't know. I prefer it when handles
really is weird. I noticed that.
But
yeah.
Came out of nowhere.
I don't know.
Hate.
Just hate.
Hate it.
We just hate. We hate new things.
Come on. Did you let my joke slip past there? Come on.
Oh, I'm sorry,
guys.
We'll rewind.
I said I preferred it when handles was a Cyberman head. Come on. Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Excellent.
I'll tell you what, Troy, if you ever want to fight us on Payday one day, I assume that's what you do on it. I've never played it.
I don't know
we could verse you.
I don't know how to Payday. I can give you codes
for the game. I've got a bunch of them lying around, so if you want to, yeah, sure.
Yeah, go on. I'll give it a go.
Let me just Google how to Payday.
You can
how to Payday.
And that's like
what is a
Payday? You can get on console and shit, surely. You can play on PlayStation. Remember the intro I had Crispy for my old podcast? He's like, what is Payday? Can you tell me what Payday is? And I was like, no one's gonna listen now. You said that. He's like, no, I'm joking. I promise. I love Payday. I love Payday. Pay us, stay us. He's funny, Crispy. Is it on PS4 and stuff? Payday.
It is on consoles, but it's not got nearly as much on it. PC is the better platform to play it on. There's a lot of stuff on Xbox and PS, on Xbox One and PS4 specifically. But PC is the best platform if you can get it on that, ideally. But yeah, so for the podcast, the socials are @Who'sThereDW. So Twitter and Instagram if you want to keep in touch with us.
Awesome, very cool.
But yeah, thank you, lads. It's been a fun time. Although I wish I hadn't died, but you know, we move, I guess.
You win some, you lose some.
It's the rules, I'm afraid. You know, it happens.
The new rules, if you're our guest on this podcast, is you have to die.
Yeah, we need to have we need to get like a tombstone like kind of wall almost, and like put all the people that we've had on who have
in memory. Troy / Red Archer Live.
We can start with Troy, and then whoever just comes next, and we'll just have a massive thing.
I don't know if I want tombstones in my office.
No, I meant like on like a Photoshop.
Oh right,
to, post to socials like every time there's a new one, not an actual tombstone.
A post like a memorial wall, and you stick on the names as each person shows up.
You know, more of a Photoshop aim, and you can post it on Twitter and Instagram, and then you can see who has sadly passed.
That makes more sense.
We can tag Brett Goldstein in it, and he'll be like, Thank you for copying.
For copying.
I'll be like, yes. you'll be hearing from my lawyer. You stole my concept.
Yeah, it might happen, you know.
So on that note, go check out
James Charles response. This is absolutely not funny. Delete this, or my lawyer will be in contact. Why do I know that? Why do I know that quote?
Because you're a James Charles fan.
Absolutely not.
Hi, sisters.
Absolutely not.
Okay, yeah.
Sister sense.
We will link the. Brett's podcast down below as well, because it's worth a listen, because it has all sorts of guests such as Russell T Davies. Why can't I think of Yaz's character actor Mandip Gill? There we go.
I honestly thought you meant Who's There for a second, and I was like, when did we get Russell T Davies on? What happened there?
Well, yes, Who's There will be linked below as well as Brett's podcast, Films to be Buried With, which in the intro I would have told you all about.
And we're going to be appearing on Brett's podcast soon, when he hears this.
TBD, stay tuned, yep.
That would be a great 360, you know.
For us to be on Brett fucking Goldstein's podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Is that his middle name?
Yes, it is actually.
Yes.
That'd be a cool nickname.
Wait, does he have 2 people on at once?
No, he only ever has one.
That's okay. We can do 2.
I'll just go on. It's fine. You don't need to come.
Hey, I'm such a huge fan, you know. So,
Troy, thank you very much. You'll now have to listen to us do our outro, which I'm not sure if you've ever heard before, which we do live on air.
I've heard it once before. And
that's stolen from another podcast as well.
It actually is.
And I doubt anyone knows which one it is, and we'll never say.
You shouldn't have said it then, mate. Oh, I wouldn't have admitted that. Whoops.
Never
well,
gonna
look,
say.
The words are original. The beat.
It's the so dumb. I'll be shocked if anyone knows what it is, but I'm never going to say it.
No. Right. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at 50Doctor and give us a subscribe at the 50% Doctor Who Podcast YouTube channel. I've been Aiden.
I've been Connor. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for coming on, Troy.
Troy is the other person that has been here. Whoa! Thank you, Troy.
Thank you, Troy.
Let's go, Connor. Feel free to sing along, Troy, or hum.
Oh.
I don't know.
We'll see.
It gets better every time. All right, ready?
It does.
And a 1, and a 2, and a skiddly diddly do. It's Aiden's and Connor's podcast. We're doing Doctor Who reviews,
but not today. And with Troy too. Who reviews. Woo!
Wow.
What a show.
Absolute tune.
This is the part where we just ramble for 30 seconds before we cut off. It's our post-credit scenes. You'd love that as a Marvel fan.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love a good post-credit scene. What's next?
Oh fuck, yeah, we need to do we actually should have said what we're doing next.
What are we doing next?
Battlefield next week. Sylvester McCoy, 4-part story.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yes, and
I prefer Call of Duty personally.
And
that's how it ends with a terrible joke. Woo!